Still blue?
No, okay.
Now we are.
Now we're live. Okay. It's 5:30. This is the regular call meeting of the Manchester Planning Commission. See the members here. Everyone was sent copies of the minutes from last month. Were there any changes or corrections? If not, we need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda, which was previously sent out. Were there any changes or modifications to the agenda?
Yes. The parcel number for number 4 was incorrect. It should actually say parcel 102.03.
Okay.
There's actually not a parcel 102.30.
But that was just on the agenda and it was correctly advertised, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes. There were signs on the property, on the correct parcel.
Okay. So other than that one change, are there any other changes? If not, take a motion to approve the agenda.
Make the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, next item is comments from citizens. At this time, the board will hear any comments from citizens who are interested in any of the items of business on tonight's agenda. Keep in mind, if you have an item on the agenda, you'll be asked to speak as it relates to that particular item. So is there anyone else in the audience who would like to make a comment on any other item on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to regular business. Item number 1 is a preliminary final plat, 3 lots, 923 Highland Drive for Louise Oakley, zoned R3. Anybody here on that one?
Nicholas stated he couldn't be here, so it's a relatively simple plat, so we can
Okay,
still go
all right.
here. This is currently one entire parcel. It is zoned R3. This preliminary final plat is subdividing the one parcel into 3 separate parcels. There are currently 3 residential structures on the parcel as a whole, and this plat is subdividing that parcel into 3 separate lots with a dwelling on each lot. Each lot this essentially brings this lot into compliance, or into 3 compliant lots rather than 1 non-compliant lot. All of the structures are meeting the setbacks except for 1. Our punch list items include to remove the shed that is not meeting the setbacks. It's to be removed before recording of the plat, and to verify that the utility service lines for each dwelling do not cross the other lots. If they do, to provide easements. Aside from that, we recommend approval of the plat.
Okay, anybody have any questions for,
Is it the shed you're talking about down in the corner on lot 3? Is that right?
It's
right there in the middle.
Right in the middle. What about the one on the corner of lot 3? Is it not to sit back, the next one?
This one?
Yeah.
So the accessory structures only have to be 5 feet from the property line.
Okay.
And this one's showing that it's 9, 11, 7, something. My eyes aren't working good.
That's okay, I'm good.
okay, so staff's recommending approval subject to 2 punch list items. Any other questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to approve subject to the punch list?
I make a motion to approve subject to the punch list.
Okay,
Second.
all right, we've got Mr. Goodwin seconded. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That passes. Item number 2 is a site plan, Highway 53 and Campbell Lane for Glenn Chapman, currently zoned C3. See Mr. Chapman here.
Mr.
No,
Chapman
no.
is here.
Mhm.
Kenny is not. Glenn, did you want to say anything about your plans or anything
Kenny
like
just
that?
said about the road that comes on the Camel, everything that I guess was good on the punch list, had to do the rest was approved, I guess. And he said, the only thing was something about, there was something mentioned about paving Campbell, but I didn't feel like I needed to, but Rick didn't do it. But, it's a road that comes off, on the Campbell, right there at the beginning.
So tell me why you want him to widen that road and pave it. I don't understand.
Adam?
Well, I was gonna say, maybe let's let Brittany and Adam talk
Yeah,
us
I
through
just
all that
wanna
real
know,
quick,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
we'll.
So city street standard is 22-foot wide asphalt pavement. This is coming out, and you can see maybe there it's 16.2 feet wide to the south side of the entrance and 17.8 on the north side. So that's not hardly wide enough to make for any decent-sized vehicle to really make the turn, or for two vehicles to pass on that public road. And that's typically what we've done on commercial development whenever they come out into a road, if it's not to city standards, to make them bring it up to standard at their property.
But his road, his building fronts on Woodbury Highway, right? So ingress and egress to his building's gonna be on Woodbury Highway.
Well, it's also.
Both.
He's got two.
It's not required that he has it on both, but he has it proposed.
So he can just shut his exit, ingress and egress down on Campbell Lane, and then that would go away, right?
If that's what he chooses to do.
Yeah, that's fine, I don't want to pay.
Why wasn't that brought up when the rec center was built? Was it standard then?
20 years ago. Can't speak for that.
I'm not aware.
But his main entrance is on 53.
That just seems like it's asking a fella to do a lot. I mean, he's not gonna use that for anything to mount anything. There won't be much traffic on it. It's a city street. It's already an approved city street. I think we're just asking too much right there.
So that is already an accepted city road?
It is a city road, yes, sir. That's just been typical practice. We've passed it, I believe, on others before. So we was being consistent and putting that comment on this one.
So it's not a big deal to dead end that little piece of parking, is it? To just, I don't know what you gotta do to go in there and turn around and come out.
Yeah, there's no code requirement that says he has to have a second.
That's correct.
And so, yeah, so
Be
that
more-
would be
be more of
an
a
easy
flow-
fix.
flow- a
Would be an
flow.
easy fix.
Yeah, I think if we require that for others, we need to be consistent.
And it is a safety issue.
Who did we require that on? Like something recent?
Why is it a safety issue?
First one that comes to mind would be.
There's no wind up, somebody pulling into it.
I can't hear you.
Whataburger, that would be the first one that comes to mind.
So they were gonna upgrade, the portion of Joe Hickerson Road that they were funding and proposed an entrance exit on. That it was one of their punch list items as well. Granted, they didn't, that deal fell through, but it was a punch list item of theirs as well.
So that never came into fruition. No?
What does the rest of Campbell Lane go back to?
It's got the rec center.
Oh,
It's that road that goes in behind the rec center. So it really doesn't go anywhere. So there's no traffic on Campbell Lane.
With the addition of a commercial property, increase
Oh, I
the
see.
traffic.
I see.
I would say the only thing that's gonna be back there might be a delivery truck or something coming into the back of the building, and that's just a guess, and I'm not even sure that I know that that's correct, but
I mean, I stopped by the property today and 3 cars passed me and I was only there for about 15, 20 minutes.
so it's fine, wasn't it? Nobody had a wreck, nobody met each other, you know?
It would
Nobody
almost,
hit me.
It wasn't, no one doesn't use
it
it.
almost seems unfair when it's an already approved city street. And then at the same time, it almost seems that we would be doing him an injustice if we said you cannot have that entrance unless doing that. Because, just for instance, what if the building caught on fire and it was just easier for the fire truck to come in that way if they didn't have that option.
You could pull that parking around on
And,
the north side of it and just take up that grassy spot that looks really nice right there.
This is just additional information, but I did call George and make sure that he concurred, the Public Works Director, and he did concur that that would need to be widened.
Is it, and I'm just trying to remember it off the top of my head from that aerial too, is that already paved?
It is.
That
Yeah.
road is paved?
Yeah, so the 17 and 16 are pavement.
And is there anything further down, when you were showing it, that actually has access onto it?
There's a little house, a little white house that's down there.
They're redoing that right now.
I believe
It comes around the
all
corner,
way
you
around
have
Rec
the
Center. out to
amphitheater or whatever
the
stays
Woodland.
down there too. So I imagine there is traffic that goes down there.
Well, down to McGuire.
Yeah. McGuire's the same thing, right?
How
It's
wide
not
is
wide.
McGuire?
It's skinny like that
So it
too.
looks about the same.
It's skinny like that as well.
So we built the rec center and the amphitheater, and we did not make that a requirement then.
I think the rec center dumps out to one of those roads,
It does. Comes out in McGuire.
McGuire.
Yep.
Is that after we built the amphitheater?
No.
No, McGuire's already-
McGuire's been there longer than the amphitheater. Years ago, it used to be Miss Campbell's boarding house. You remember, you remember that?
So can you remind us what, when you mentioned Whataburger, what we did with Whataburger?
I forget the name of the road out there. It goes down beside the funeral home.
Joe Hickerson.
Joe Hickerson. We required them to widen it to 22 foot as well, because they were putting their entrance out of their site out onto Joe Hickerson, I guess on the opposite side of 41 Highway from their property. So they would, I don't think it was the full length they had to widen, but they did have to widen some to bring it fully to 22 foot, at least to their entrance.
So how much you want him to widen that?
To
How
his
far?
To his entrance.
To the entrance?
Well, beyond the entrance, so that any car that pulls out of his property will come out onto a city standard road of 22 feet so that two cars can safely pass.
Why didn't you ask Whataburger to do the same with Hickerson Drive?
We did,
We did, that's what.
You said that you didn't ask him to have it all widened.
because it was already 22 foot. It's the part that wasn't 22 foot we asked them to widen.
Is this a city requirement? Is there any state requirements that define the width of a road when it's an egress to a commercial?
I can't name one right off standard, or right off hand, but city standard is 22 feet.
How do you think the city came up with that standard?
Probably to allow two vehicles to safely pass one another.
No, but I mean, how do you think they just dreamed that up on their own? There's no state or
No,
no
I mean,
building
that's-
codes, no access?
That's,
Not designed? Okay.
no, I mean, that's pretty standard. I mean, there are.
You say it's pretty standard, so where is it standard?
Standard of practice. I mean, it's just.
Standard of practice is usually documented somewhere, but this is not.
Yeah, well, you can go to other agencies such as TDOT. You know,
Okay.
their minimum is gonna be probably 10 or 11 feet. The city sets a standard in the subdivision regulations that's 22 feet. So that's typically what's been required. It's, if you go to larger classification of roads, such as Woodbury Highway out there, most of the time it gets to 12 feet lane width.
Gotcha.
Campbell Lane was there when we built the rec center.
Yeah, but the rec center doesn't have any access to that, right? And it's
Well, it
McGuire.
does,
It's
yeah.
McGuire.
Every time I go to the rec center, I go down Campbell Lane,
You can get on McGuire
Yeah.
and turn right to
turn
Campbell.
right in there, yeah.
How would you do that?
Okay, you want to keep going through some of the other punch list items, and then we'll come back to,
So the other punch list items include a TDOT entrance permit will be required for the entrance off of Woodbury Highway, which is noted on the site plan, so they are aware of that. Number 3 includes to coordinate with Manchester Water Sewer on available sewer capacity to serve the site. Number 4 is a comment regarding some of the existing sewer mains are shown differently on the Manchester Water Sewer GIS than what they are on the site plan. So again, they need to coordinate with Manchester Water Sewer to ensure that gravity service line will be possible. And then number 5 is for them to provide a detention maintenance agreement and long-term maintenance plan for the detention area.
Okay, and did you go over those with Kenny?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so Mr. Chapman, you understand what the items were? And
Yes.
So do you have I know you said something about just cutting that off. Do you have any sort of other comment or response related to that, or?
And he did provide elevation, so it will meet the architectural requirements and be a brick building.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nice building. It's gonna add to that corner.
Mhm.
It's
Absolutely.
gonna look so good, yes.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we might be a little too hard on them.
Yeah, it's hard to set rules and follow them, I know.
Yeah. It is for some of us.
Make a motion to approve, subject to the punch list.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve, subject to
second
the
that
punch
motion.
list, which has been seconded. So I guess, could it be, could number 2 be modified? I'm just asking for discussion purposes to say if that was, if that entrance was removed, then that,
Would satisfy number 2.
that would satisfy number 2, because that's,
Mute point.
right. Does that make sense?
But so we're in discussion at this moment, right?
That's correct, that's correct. So-
It could also be modified to just remove number 2.
Well, if number 2 was removed,
They have to
then,
modify their motion in second.
yeah, but if number 2 was removed, then it would be allowed to be like it is right now.
Right, but it's an approved city road already, and I just feel like it's not the main entrance to the property. And I feel that's pretty harsh for us to ask for the builder, who's
Oh, yeah.
obviously making a good,
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that statement, I'm just saying the motion on the floor is as it is, so you'd have to either do a motion to amend, to remove number 2, which would be another vote, or have to see if this motion, which has been seconded, passes,
so I can make a motion now to amend that motion?
correct?
I'll second that motion.
All right, so we've got a motion to amend to remove number 2 from the punch list, which has been seconded. So now we have discussion on the amendment. Is there any other discussion on the amendment? Okay, if not.
Just
Oh, go
for
ahead.
clarity's
Yeah.
sake. If number 2 gets omitted,
Correct.
the driveway can still stay there.
Yes,
Without any
because you,
change to the road.
because your only punch list items now would be 1, 3, 4, and 5. There'd be no issue on the requiring the pavement to be widened, so if number 2 was
So the
removed.
idea of removing that entrance went away. That's not on the table now.
That's right, they delete note 2.
Okay.
Yeah, if note 2's gone, then yeah, that would say. Okay, any other questions or discussion? Everybody clear on the amendment?
We vote on the amendment first.
Yeah, we'll be
right?
voting on the amendment,
I
not
have
on
a
the.
question,
Yes.
and this may not be on there. How far, I know from the north entrance of Campbell, because it looks like it widens up onto Campbell, how far from the 17.8 feet does it go to like 22 feet?
It can't be very far.
I was
mean,
fixing to
know-
say, it don't
I
look
know
like
it
it's
does.
that far.
I know it does before it gets to the curb and gutter there.
Right,
The entrance itself looks good.
yeah, but I'm just wondering like how far down does it go?
Yeah, how long
Like,
of a distance are you talking about? Is it,
I mean,
you know?
it looks like, and this is thumb in the air there, but based on the 17 feet to get to 22, I would guess another 30 to 40 feet. So we're probably talking about a total of plus or minus 90 to 100 feet of widening, and then tapering back into the existing road.
I tried to do my homework on this a little bit today, and I pulled this up on the map, and I think from like, there was originally 2 parcels there, and the way it curves, my measurements are probably a little off, but the whole from the bottom corner up to the road was about 233 feet. Does that sound about right? So you're probably about right. That's about 30 feet that we're talking about. That's not within the
The
22
guidelines.
foot. Yeah, that's it.
But you want him to pave it all, right? You want him to go all the way to
No.
McGuire
No, he
Street?
said
No,
just a
no,
little
it's
ways
just
past
the
his
driveway.
entrance, but
Just to pass the
That's it.
driveway is what they're saying.
Just so that when cars come in or out of that driveway, they can pull out on the street and pass one another and have two passable lanes going out to the highway.
If somebody's driving down it now, do they have to, does somebody have to stop and get over? They can't pass with
Somebody's in the grass.
somebody's in the ground?
Is there a sidewalk that comes down Campbell?
No. There's air conditioning unit that comes down Campbell.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, so the vote, this current vote will be just on the amendment, which is to remove item number 2 from the punch list. And I just want to make sure I can keep up with how everybody's voting here. So maybe in addition to saying aye, if you're in favor of the amendment, show your hand too, so I'll know who's, so Grace can keep up with it for the minutes. That's, I think, the key. So unless we want to do a roll call vote, but I thought it'd be easier so everybody show their hands real quick. So all those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
hi.
Okay, so we've got 3. All right. All those opposed to the amendment, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, so I heard that too. So we got 4 to 3, so the amendment fails. So now we're back to the original motion, which was to approve it subject to the 5 punch list items, but knowing that if that entrance was cut off, then item 2 would go away. Okay, any other discussion?
The amendment, the motion didn't include that, right? It didn't say that if he didn't do the,
No,
Exit.
the motion just said, we're just gonna disregard everything.
The motion was to approve it according to the punch list items.
right.
And so.
So do we need to put something in there?
Well,
that-
that's what I questioned, could it be modified? And I think
Yes,
that
I
the
agree.
the person that made the motion and the
Okay.
second agreed with that, so I
It's a moot point.
put that as the part of the motion. Okay? Any other discussion now on the main motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Ms. Swan and Mr. Messer. Okay. Move on to item number 3, rezoning request at West Main Street, Hillwood subdivision for Manchester Housing Authority, currently zoned R2. They want to change to an R4. I see Ms. Huddleston here. Is Scott, are you here on that one too? or- Okay, well, one of y'all want to sort of walk everybody through what you're on the proposed zoning change? and-
Without surveyors, it's almost like going to court without attorneys in it. Pretty nice.
So I did provide you all with a printout of the zoning map and the land use map, but I have it here on the screen as well. I'll let Scott talk.
So this is a,
Is Scott where he can be seen on the camera too? So I think about it. I don't know.
We can see you. right?
Okay.
I'll introduce the property and then Nancy will help fill in on what they're proposing to do, but we're just at the end, of Woodrow Street. You go down, hit the river, and across the street is the wastewater treatment plant that you can see over on the left side of your screen. So if you jump back across the river, all of this undeveloped triangular portion here, part of that is owned by Mr. Feeblecorn that has the house at the end of the street there. He owns several lots behind him that he has purchased over the years. And the remaining of it is the property that is undeveloped. It's platted, it's right-of-ways, it's lots, but it's undeveloped area. And this is the portion that Alan Howard had come in at a point, proposed development in that area. Of course, Alan did develop the cul-de-sac street at the very bottom of the screen here several years ago that was carved out of it. But the remainder of that property that abuts the river is what Manchester Housing Authority acquired from Mr. Howard. And granted, a lot of his portion down by the creek is, the river is in floodplain, and that portion would be pretty much undevelopable. They're not proposing to get in and develop in that floodplain area. But the remainder of the area would kind of be regrouped, and off of Westmore Street is a right-of-way that stubs down into the Manchester Housing Authority property, and so that would become an entrance point. And Nancy will kind of talk through, so what they're looking at doing is requesting rezoning to an R4, which I'll let Brittany describe in a bit, conforms to the current land use plan. And they're proposing to do similar to Justin's Court that was developed off of Woodrow Street. I'll let you kind
What's
of
off
fill in
of-
the gap.
of
I'm
there?
sorry, off of Oak.
Yeah, and that's what it's gonna be modeled after. So you'll see that picture here. We're going for, there'll be duplexes, but they'll be 600 to 700 square feet each, and they're gonna be we want them to be elderly disabled. Justin Court's been very successful, and we have a waiting list like crazy. It's not public housing. This is a snapshot of what I wrote down here. It's not public housing. We're going after a grant. We will have a loan on the property, but like Justin's Court, but it will never be ran like public housing. Just like Rivendell, it was a tax credit property, but we're the sole owners now of it. We will manage the property, but it will be for moderate to low income individuals. Their rents will be about $500. They will be income capped where they can't make too much money. It will be all based upon income coming into household, not like public housing.
Did you say this is mainly for seniors,
Senior, elderly, disabled.
elderly disabled? Okay.
Is what our goal is. There'll be one bedrooms and some two bedrooms.
Just-
The two bedrooms will be like, we have some elderlies that need assistance, so they'll have two bedrooms, or there's a couple, or whatever. But, yeah, I'm pretty passionate about it. I've been doing this for 30 years, and this is pretty exciting program if we get the grant. Now, I'm applying for it. It's due the end of July. And we've received several different grants through the time, and it's been my experience that it sometimes happens because they're very competitive. And I've received 3, but it might be again that I have to apply for it next year. But again, the grants won't pay for everything. We'll have about an $800,000 loan on it when it's over with. But it will be in phases also. The first phase will be 5 duplexes, so 10 units. That's as much money as we can get on these grants.
How many possible doors is feasible on the property?
We will have to lay that out. I mean, the
It's still early.
floodplain impacts it, fill slopes, just a number of things. So it is not going to be maximizing the density based on the area
Yeah,
because it
the
just won't.
property, yeah.
But as Nancy said, they're focusing now on these 5 duplex units on the front end of the phase 1.
We haven't built any, I hesitate to say low income, but subsidized
Since Justice
housing,
Court.
like in years, since Justice Court.
That's right,
And that's-
2021.
Yeah, that was what, 6 units?
It's 4 duplexes,
Four
so 8
duplex, 8
units.
units?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're about 600 square feet
Yeah.
apiece.
Didn't you tell me you had a 2-year waiting list?
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just awful. And we have our public housing, on Spring and Short.
yeah.
That's 24 one-bedroom units, basically. And that waiting list is when they die, then we can, basically, they go into a nursing home and/or they pass, then we have an opening unit or move in with a family member. It's very needed. This is a very
Yeah.
needed program.
And it's tucked down in there where nobody's around.
Yeah.
Right, you're not looking at the development anywhere or anything like that. You're back there by yourself.
I know that the public housing kind of scares people, but, I think we speak for itself on Justin's Court. I think it's a nice property, and as far as Rivendell, it's a nice property, and it's not, we still own it, and we have compliance, THDA, make sure we're doing everything right. We're not gonna make our rents unaffordable. We could, but we're not going to. We're gonna stick with our mission, and that's to provide safe, decent housing for low, modern income people.
What happens, one, it's a great idea. I think we need more of these things. Obviously, hopefully this land is flat enough and such that has sidewalks and it's safe for people or whatever. What happens if you don't get your grant? Let's say we rezone it and then you don't get your grant. Then what happens?
I apply for it again.
Apply for it again.
When you miss a field goal, you keep trying to kick.
I got you.
That would be a mission.
This is not something you would sell off to some other developer.
No, I tell you, we've had people approach us about that, where that cul-de-sac is.
Uh-huh.
There's some land that can't be used. There's 2 people that's contacted us to where they want some of that property behind their house, but I've told them that we don't even know what we're gonna do yet.
Existing homeowners that
Yes,
are there
the
that
existing.
want to expand their lives. so,
Yeah, and you can't really get to it, but I don't know if you can or not, so I told them that I kept their names and. But no, I don't wanna, we'll hold it until, I don't wanna sell it off. I think it's, I'm not gonna always be there, but I hope that that's the mission that we're.
And this is consistent with the land use map.
That's
Yes.
my next question.
So for purposes of tonight's meeting, we're strictly looking at the zoning. We're not necessarily looking at the density.
Site
thing,
plan, anything like that.
What's gonna be, obviously what's gonna be allowed. But, so currently, it's all zoned R2 in that area, which is our, low-density residential. Our land use plan, however, does show that area as a whole, as high-density residential. So their request is consistent with our land use plan.
And it was posted,
Yes, so we placed a sign here, actually. It's not actually on the property, but we were trying to make it visible to traffic, because there wasn't really a good high-traffic point within the development. So the sign's more like over here.
That's exactly what I need for this.
But, we weren't trying to hide it. So there was a sign posted on the property, and of course, after tonight's recommendation, it'll go before the board, and there'll be a public notice posted.
Freddie didn't call and complain? You hadn't heard from Fred before?
No, actually, have we heard from anybody about it?
Jeff Lowe won't know why there's a sign on
Jeff
his
Lowe
property.
wanted to know why there was a sign on the property.
Good question.
But no, we haven't heard from people in the neighborhood, which is kind of surprising.
okay, and then just for clarity, was there anybody else here? I know we had a public comment section earlier, but was there anybody here in the audience here on that particular item? Okay. So, and Nancy, as you know, this board can't rezone property, only the Board of Mayor and Aldermen can do that, but this body or board makes a recommendation, positive or negative, then it goes before the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. So you'll want to be, regardless of what the recommendation is from this board, you'll want to be able to make your presentation and be at the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meetings. Scott knows that well. So does anybody else have any other questions or comments for Scott or Nancy? Yep.
Is it reasonable to assume, given funding, that subsequent phases would be in the order of 10 units at a time? Or
Hopefully,
do we have to start getting concerned about, other utilities and services and other kinds of things like that? I guess that's.
I'm going out for the max. So that would be about the 5, so unless there's more money put in there for some reason,
Got
I
it,
mean.
okay.
But in the future, I foresee several phases, so it won't.
How big a piece of property is it?
It's a total of 37 parcels, and I would say it's roughly between 20 and 30 acres.
And how much, Scott, would you say is really buildable or usable?
It's
Like 70%?
probably less than 70,
Yeah.
is probably 60 to 50%,
yeah.
something like that, because of floodplain
Okay.
and slopes.
So you're working with 10 acres plus or minus, I guess?
I say I foresee, like, there's some land that's not of use as far as building, but I could see a greenway being on some of it, like, to where people can walk, not just our residents, but to connect and have a place of, walking or, even someone said maybe some baseball fields or soccer fields or whatever. I don't know. I haven't looked into that much, but that was just something I think would be nice if we could do that. Especially the walkway.
Yeah, any kind of outdoor activity.
Absolutely.
Currently is R2, like I said, it's low-density residential. Multifamily is allowed in R2 with a special exception. The density requirements are 10,000 square feet per family. If granted in R4, that is high-density residential. It is 3,000 square foot per family for multifamily. But for duplexes, it's 5,000 square foot per family. So the density greatly increases with R4. And then the minimum lot size for R4 is, of course, 5,000 square feet. So if a duplex was put into place, it would be a 10,000 square foot lot, which is already the minimum lot size for R2.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to send it for a positive recommendation to rezone from R2 to R4.
I second that.
Nancy, I think you do an amazing job with
Thank you.
those places look,
Thank you.
Very good.
you did a great
We're
job.
pretty passionate about it, so. it's in
Good
there.
presentation.
so we've got a motion and second to send it to the Board of Mayor and Alderman with a positive recommendation. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Are we stuck with
Moving along.
adjusted?
All right, item number 4, rezoning request on Woodbury Highway, map 67, parcel 102.03, for Josh Moore, requesting a zone change from C2 to R4. See Mr. Moore here. Would you like to come up and talk to the board here once she gets oriented here?
She likes to fly.
Yeah.
Parcel. Go ahead, Josh.
Okay?
Yeah, so it's not the entire parcel. Leaving commercial there on the highway, I think it's right at 5 acres. I believe so.
Yeah, 6.88.
Okay.
Well, 6.88 is the requested R4 amount.
Okay. I think that leaves right at 5 acres for the commercial there on Woodbury Highway. Probably a little early for that, but at the end of the rainbow, mega site and stuff gets going out there, leaving some room for some commercial there, and then joins the R4 in the back that I have there, so just giving us a little bit more room to expand for townhomes, apartments there for development.
So you all have a picture within your packet that depicts exactly or almost exactly what that line for commercial versus the residential would be. So like you said, he wants to leave commercial along the frontage of Woodbury Highway, and then the rear portion of it that abuts the existing R4 adjacent parcel is the portion that he is wanting to live in for.
Is that right now from Interstate Drive?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this parcel that is adjacent to fronts Interstate Drive, However, the parcel, that question does not.
So that,
But access will be off the highway, right?
Yes, that there's lots of frontage on Woodbury Highway. Our land use plan, so it's currently zoned C2, which he is proposing to leave a portion of it C2. However, our land use plan shows that area as a whole as commercial. So if you all want to send it with a positive recommendation, it will also require a land use amendment. So that'll take a little bit more time.
So is the area, Josh, that you're talking about wanting to leave commercial, basically where that line is right now?
It's really close. It's just a little bit further in if you want to.
It should be about 300 foot of depth off the highway, which, looking around a little bit, it seems to kind of be,
Really not sure what that means.
restaurants, anything like that. They could eventually cut that up into 3 or 4 tracks, maybe.
I don't think so, I didn't see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's that?
Everybody's
I
sitting,
have
I
a paper you
I
all
didn't see
don't.
that I didn't see that in my note.
yeah.
I guess you can pass that one around if you like. But the line is just a little bit further in, where it has a little bit of a depth there. But nonetheless, he is leaving 300 feet of commercial.
so
zone
can,
there.
can you go back to the picture that shows the aerial view? Just so I can understand where we're at.
So there is some clearing that's already happened here, some logging and things.
Davy Crockett, old Davy Crockett's there.
Right
Yes.
across the
Right
road.
across, yeah, right.
Right there, yeah.
It's in front of
Whatever
the
it's
little
called now.
church.
Los Felitas.
Yeah, yeah.
L. Crockett's.
So you're saying 300
Oh,
foot
Jody's.
road
Oh,
frontage?
yeah.
So 300 foot this way.
L. Pappy's.
and
300 foot
Like a
wide.
300 foot strip
300 foot deep.
is gonna remain commercial. So this, all of the Woodbury Highway frontage will remain commercial.
That's
Is
a
what's
good thing.
proposed.
Okay, so then access to this residential piece would come through the, how would access to this piece happen?
I mean, a right of way could be zoned.
We also have Interstate Drive there, so the,
That's
Because
what
he
you say,
joins
Down there
the
at the bottom.
Yeah,
So
you
the
have that.
Joins
ultimate
the-
goal, I believe,
adjacent
Yeah.
property.
is to have the R4 that's already here combined with this R4 and an entrance be on Interstate Drive, perhaps. I'm not sure. They haven't submitted any kind of
Okay.
concept plan.
Wasn't that plat, the 102.01, didn't that used to be commercial, and did you not ask us to zone that R4, Josh?
I did,
It is R4.
probably a year and a half
Yeah.
ago, maybe.
So you want us, you still good with R4, right? You're not asking us to change that?
No.
Okay.
I'm
He's
just
wanting to
asking
make it
kind of
bigger.
Expand that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
So the idea is to kind of build the townhomes and maybe we attract some commercial. We've been trying with a commercial over there. The response has been a little early. Everybody's wondering what's going on down the road with Megasite, college and everything, but, you know, get some townhomes going and
Be a good place for a hotel.
I think that's
You
what
need
the
to-
front parcel is there, a couple of years ago, so.
Okay. Again, this is, as you know, Josh, a recommendation, right, from this board to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and regardless of what this board recommends, you know, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen make the ultimate decision, so you need to be there to present to them. Does anybody have any other questions for Mr. Moore?
Well, I struggle a little bit, so is there some survey or parcel plan that shows where that line is?
Yes, so Nicholas
That's
did
the
do
one
a
that-
legal description that would go.
It's a legal
in an
description,
ordinance.
rather than a-
Does he have a drawing, or
You
is
have a
that?
drawing?
Yeah, he just used the tax
It's right
map.
in front
Just
of
that
Cheryl.
photograph right
Right,
there.
sure.
That one
Just the
pretty close.
photograph?
Yeah.
I got
You
you,
can see where the notch is.
I got you. That's what we're voting on right there. So this is one parcel now.
Right.
Doesn't have to be 2 parcels before we can annex it?
We're not annexing.
Excuse me, not annexing, changing the zoning.
It would become a split zone parcel. And I mean, that,
Is that a common thing to do? I thought we didn't like those. We don't care?
I mean, we might not like them, but I don't think there's anywhere that says that it's not allowed.
Okay.
So when that other was rezoned, like, when did you say, 2000 when?
Uh,
It was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Did you have to get an amendment to the,
So it went through prior to the
City
passing
land
of
use.
this current land use plan. But I believe there may have been a land use amendment for that one as well.
Yeah. That's amazing that he got that done with all that commercial around there.
I don't think the interstate drive's wide enough for them to get out on. Just being a little sarcastic there, okay?
How wide is that road going back to that flag lot?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if we need one, just make them go across the damn ditch, I guess.
Yeah. All right, other comments? If not, we need to motion to send it with either a positive or a negative recommendation to the
We
board.
need to do that first, or do the land use map recommendation?
So if you all choose to do so, the land use amendment would have to come before us another time because it requires a 30-day public hearing notice at both the planning commission level and the board level. So when I said it's gonna take some more time, I meant it.
Well, would it be
So we can,
easier to do to wait until, because if the land use amendment
So
fails,
I was thinking you all could send it with a positive recommendation pending positive recommendation of the land use amendment as well. That way there won't have to be two items on a following agenda and just the one. But
gotcha.
we can defer it and do them both at the same time if you'd like to do that way.
it seems to me it's the cart before the horse, kind of a little.
A little, but I was,
I think that this will come up again, especially going down like 41 where you have commercial and then high density, because the way the land use map plan is it's not specific to certain, you
I
know,
think the way they drew it up by parcel, and what we said, it was notional was the term I used or whatever,
Right.
y'all made fun of, but,
It's a broad
Yeah.
brush.
Broad, there you go, it's probably a better term.
It wasn't
But it also is
lot-specific.
adjacent to high density, right?
Correct.
And so since it's adjacent to high density, did we say that had to be, that's okay to pass? We thought that's a good thing because we weren't so exact.
Are you talking about the 1416, the light
Yeah.
yellow?
Uh-huh,
That's low density, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
But the
flag
one-
lot is R4.
That's R4 right
so
there.
Right there.
this is the land use
Yeah.
map that you're looking at currently. And
It's R4 now.
I think the
It
reasoning.
is now, yeah,
Wasn't
His
original.
other lot.
yeah.
Cheryl, the 1416's not even in the city, that's in the urban growth
Well,
boundary.
I was just trying to use that as what it's closest to.
So I think
But
what-
because that flag lot's yellow, or it's not yellow here, it threw me off. Because it's not commercial anymore, it's an R4.
This is R4, but on the land use plan, we deemed it as future commercial use. The rezoning, I believe, passed due to its closeness to this parcel,
Which is R4.
which is R4, and it's also high-density residential on the land use plan. But this was, if I remember correctly, this was rezoned prior to this land use plan passing.
So Brittany, what'd you say? Did we need to vote on a modification to the land use map first?
So I don't think you have to do it first.
Okay.
We can do it, in
But
my
this
eyes,
could be
one of
subject
two
to.
ways.
Yeah.
Gotcha. We can defer it and pass them with a positive recommendation at the same time, or we can pass this one with a positive recommendation pending the positive recommendation of the land use amendment.
There won't be any difference in the amount of time it takes, will there?
Yes, because the land use amendment requires a 30-day notice for a public hearing.
I mean, he means if we did it,
Defer.
the one denied or deferred or.
Correct.
Yep.
The cleaner you can make it, the better it'll be to go before the board, I think.
Well, I won't take, so the rezoning won't be able to go before the board until the land use amendment's before
Right.
the board. So it'll just kind of be floating between boards.
So the land use plan drives the schedule.
think that's the way it sounds, yeah.
Okay. So what's the pleasure? I guess we could entertain a motion to defer till after to the meeting with the land use plan. We could do a motion to send it with a positive recommendation, subject to positive recommendation to change the land use plan. There could be a motion to send it with a negative recommendation. There could be any,
I'll make a motion that we defer it until we get the land use plan, then send them both at the same time.
I'll second that.
okay? Got a motion and a second to defer to hear it with the proposed change to the land use plan. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Does he have to pay another fee to?
No.
No.
No. Any opposed?
That's good of you thinking of us poor folks.
I don't hear any opposed, so we'll show it as unanimous.
Abstain.
Yeah,
I think
okay, okay, show Brad as abstaining. All right?
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. All right, item number 5, rezoning request for 83 Ingram Street for Southern Custom Building LLC, requesting a zone change from I-1 to R4. Mr. Lowe, you've sat through a few of them here now, so, what,
That's pretty simple, I think. I
Yeah.
don't know why that's all, I don't know why it's all industrial anyhow.
where, Brittany, show us all where we're talking about.
So there are actually 3 dwellings on the parcel that has request for rezoning. It's currently zoned I-1. I'm unsure as to why, but a good portion of that street is zoned I-1. Mr. Wells has requested a rezoning to R4. So from industrial to high-density residential, which is
Back a street or two. Goes between there and.
which is consistent with the land use plan, as that entire area is shown as high-density residential.
Can you go back to the previous map?
The zoning?
Yeah, so what's the property in question here? Which one?
The 111, 10183.
That one there.
How many houses you want to build on there?
And there's
Two?
houses all the way down that side.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, go back to the area.
And those are vacant? Those are empty? Those lots don't have
No,
houses?
there's 2 mobile homes and a house on it.
Yeah, there's 3 buildings on it now.
I guess because it's
Three
by
rough old
MCA
cows I
sign
want to
company.
demolish.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would improve that property and that street so much.
It's already residential.
And it is,
Understand
and it
that.
is consistent with the land use
I
plan.
think those houses have been over there for years.
Probably because of MCA.
I'm sure it wasn't,
They probably
maybe
don't know.
initially, but it's just strange.
And the adjacent properties are zoned what right now?
See, look at them. I mean, they're all,
They're
You know,
all high
Across,
density.
across the street is R3, which is
Okay.
medium-density residential, and then these 2 on the corner are high-density residential.
What's the gray?
The gray is
Industrial.
industrial.
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah, it
And
is.
there's residences on it.
Yeah, there's residents on.
So
all
probably-
that
Sides of the street.
Probably just got included in whenever it got zoned industrial, those houses were already there and they just zoned that block industrial.
They had a really weird paintbrush.
What it looks like.
Make a motion to approve.
In order to send it to the board with a positive recommendation.
That's what I meant to say.
All right. All right, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Who seconded that? Mark?
I did. But I'll back up if you want to. Somebody
Okay.
else.
We won't argue.
Yeah.
I have no other report tonight. Adam, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Brittany, you want to talk about the training?
I think I sent everybody an invite, but the annual training is set for June 25th at the conference center this year.
At the conference center.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I put the correct address on the invite.
I didn't pay no attention.
Okay.
You said it was optional, right?
No,
Optionally
it's
mandatory.
not optional.
I misread it. That's
And
what it
neither
was.
are closed.
But did I hear, is there a morning session and an afternoon session?
So
Or
I
is it just?
I can give you guys,
Whatever.
you all are required to have 4 hours of training one way or another. So Sam will be here from 9:30 to 4:30. We will have lunch, stop in, get 4 hours.
So even if he's still talking at after 4 hours, we can get up
Look at the time, Robert.
Somebody could come 2 hours in the morning, have lunch 2 hours in the afternoon,
If
and go,
that's
or
what you
do
so choose to
all,
do.
or whatever.
Well, that's a great idea. 8 to 12 would be good.
Yeah.
What time does, it starts 9:30, right?
That's what Sam agreed to, yeah.
So I could come at 10 and leave at 2 and get my 4 hours in?
Sure.
He's still
Well,
talking.
hey, that's well, Sam be talking on the way home. Yeah.
Okay, so everybody mark your calendars for that.
Check.
And, let's see, Mayor, what was that? Did I hear?
Motion to adjourn.
Yes, okay.
I
All right,
abstain.
yes,
I
yeah.
abstain.
We're all abstaining, yeah.
All in favor?
Y'all better vote yes on that.
All right, and we'll do real quick, this is a regular call meeting of the Manchester Board of Zoning Appeals. Everyone was sent the minutes from May 19th. Were there any changes or corrections? If not, we need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Yeah. You just, I figured you just do both of them at once.
Sure.
All right, so, guess we need to approve the agenda, which there are no business items. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, and a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, now we'll open it up for comments from citizens on items of business. There are none. I don't see any citizens here either, so we'll move on to business. None, no report from the chairman. Adam, you have anything?
No, sir.
Brittany, you have anything else? Okay, here we go.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Thank you all very much.
Abstaining on that.
Yeah.
What is gonna be a better way to streamline this? Because we're gonna run into more problems where we have to, you know, modify the city land use map plan as some of these things do come to the table.
Wait, still.